welcome to another Sims 4 speed build. My name's Lorraine, and today we're doing a 10k Japanese starter home in Mount Komorebi using base game and the new Snowy Escape pack. And that's all we used today. And it was really cool. I was really impressed with how cheap the Snowy Escape items are. It makes it so much easier to make cool stuff with very little simoleons, which, you know, we always like that in the Sims community. It's usually really easy I find like $150,000 or so isn't too hard to spend, but beyond that is really hard, and under 10 is pretty hard. But I was pleasantly surprised with this base game and Snowy Escape only build that it was so easy to make such a cool house for less than 10,000 simoleons. And like with really cool features too, like there's a platform bed and some really cool like stairs and a bathroom, and I don't know, it's just the stuff in this pack made it really easy. And it turned out really nice, and I had fun making it, and it didn't take that long either. I was surprised by that as well. I would like to say too, this is a Japanese inspired build, so if I got any like traditional elements incorrect, I apologize. I don't pretend to be like an expert on Japanese culture at all, so that's out of the way. I love the new sliding doors that came in this pack. There's several new ones, and they're all so cool, and they're pretty cheap too. Like, I tend to rely a lot on debug when I do these under 10k builds, and I didn't really have to with this pack, which was kind of cool and interesting. I found that to be like very surprising. I'm kind of wondering now if it would be similar using like Eco Lifestyle and base game or something like that, like the newer packs, or maybe have cheaper items. I don't know. So here I am putting in a platform, and of course the wall disappears because we got to have, you know, the step down at the door because for a Japanese build. And I'm fixing the roof because I ended up feeling like the house was too big for the budget. So then, you know, you lose the walls and then you have to put more in. It's a whole thing. I really had fun with the platforms in this build. One thing that I realized is super important with platforms is make sure that you use medium wall height if you're going to put any furniture on platforms. Otherwise, adults won't be able to use it. If you want them to not be able to use it and just kids be able to use it, then, you know, like do whatever. But I found that using the medium wall height means that the adults can get up there. So yeah, I lifted the walls up. Look how pretty those sliding doors are. They're just like, oh, they're so gorgeous. There's another little building tip, like when I don't want to spend money on the more expensive, nicer lights, I use the tiny, like the subtle saucer, the super subtle saucer light, and then shrink it down to its smallest size. So you have light, but you can barely see it. I really like that because it, like, then you don't have to have like a choice between a light fixture or no light. You just use like, it's barely there light. I like how I used the paneling in different areas to set things off. It was surprising to me that the wood paneling, the tea house wood paneling, was like 4 simoleons square, and then the cedar and paper or whatever that is was like 2 simoleons a square. So it was interesting. It was an odd thing, I thought. So I'm putting tatami in the bedroom. I really like how that bed turned out, where you go up the stairs on either side to get to the bed. Here I'm doing the kitchen and the living room area and putting some tile down in the bathroom, which I really like how the bathroom turned out. Like, I thought it was kind of ingenious to have just this small area with the sliding doors, because the cool thing with sliding doors is the part that doesn't move. Like, it doesn't have to be free of stuff behind it, so you can put stuff behind it. I did that in another build too, my my 7 kids, single mom, family house or apartment build. Utilizing that space behind the sliding door, which I think is kind of neat. Like, it's one of those things I don't normally do or think of. So here we're working on the kitchen, and this kitchen is pretty simple, but because of the prices of the stuff in this pack, I ended up being able to go back and put in a really cool like tea shelf thing in the kitchen, which you'll see in a little bit here. And I was really surprised. I think it was like 200 simoleons or something, like something super crazy cheap, like I wouldn't have expected. I also kind of thought that this particular sim that the house is built for is a snowboarder and a younger gentleman. So I tried to give it that kind of feel or vibe or whatever you want to call it. So there's got like snowboarding vibes in his 10K starter house. There's the tea shelf thing. I was really surprised by how cheap that was, and that I was actually able to use it in such a cheap build, and it really came together, and it turned out nice. I was working on how I wanted to configure the cabinets here, and because I really wanted it to make sense and have plenty of space, because like you really only need one free cabinet top for your Sims to be able to cook in the kitchen. But I also want it to look like your Sims could cook, if that makes sense. Like, if every possible space is covered, like, it might be possible for your Sims to cook in there, but like, it might, but that doesn't mean it will look like it is. So I did like this configuration, but I decided that it took up too much space. And I tried to make like a little like eating area there, and I was like, no. I tried a bunch of different ways of doing this particular bit, and I do like how it ended up turning out with the bin there. I also decided to use a kotatsu table in the living room rather than like a sofa or chairs, because then they have a dining table that's comfortable and they have a space to watch TV, which that's one thing that's been neat since we've had that kotatsu table is I had one of those. I put one of those in my family rental that was kind of the same thing, where you didn't have to have like separate furniture to watch TV from. And here I am doing landscaping. I'm trying to look through the debug landscaping. I think I still had like 600 simoleons or something at this point, which is crazy. Like my last 10K starter home, I think it was just base game, and like I barely was able to get it done under 10K. This one, like, I had money to spare, and I was like, okay, well, what am I gonna spend it on? Because like you got to get it within, you know, the margin of like $1 or $2 to really call it an under 10K home, I guess. I don't know. I don't remember what this ended up turning out to be. I will list that in the description. I ended up taking out those planter boxes and using these other ones, those ones, they're so pretty. I really like what those look like. Here you can see that they look like honeysuckle to me. I always liked honeysuckle. When I was a little girl, my grandparents had honeysuckle in their backyard, and I thought that was the coolest thing ever. So here I'm just trying a bunch of different trees. I do like that tree, but what I was trying to think was like, what kind of trees are like actually present in Japan, because I don't really know the answer to that question. I suppose I could have done some research. I probably will, because I'm sure I'll do more Japanese builds now that we have some like perfect items for doing them. But this is as far as I've gotten so far. So here I'm doing shelving above the bed instead of end tables, because it was a lot cheaper and I was able to put some really cool stuff up there. So I really like how it ended up turning out. I put a bunch of plants up there. All right, we're coming to the end here. I'm so glad you guys decided to click on my video today. Thank you so much for being here. Don't forget to like this video if you enjoyed it, and subscribe for more great content just like this. Be sure to hit that notification bell so that you'll know when my next video comes out, and I will see you next time. Bye.